Hi, hello. Welcome to Myself on Purpose, the podcast. I'm the host, Daria, and this is session 0. Session 0, spoiler alert, is not much of a session at all. It's really meant to be just an intro for us to get acquainted. So thank you for being here, and let's get into it. So, what is this podcast about? I am a firm believer that there are many versions of self, sometimes simultaneously, for those of us who are extra fun. Um, and even though it may not seem like it in the moment, maybe it makes no sense, right? I do believe that eventually each version serves a purpose in who we are today and how we experience things and how we show up. And so this podcast is really about making those connections between experience and the purpose that those serve, right? And so, yeah, the plan is really just to reflect together and share, right? Lessons from anything and everything, right? The ups, the downs, the all arounds, in hopes of being able to draw these connections between experience and the purpose it serves. Yeah. So it should be a fun ride, an interesting ride, if nothing else. Um, the name of the podcast, it took a while to come to me, y'all. It took a while to come to me. That was not a fun experience, but if I had to do it all over again, I'd say that it was well worth the journey. I think that Myself on Purpose, that name, really encompasses the work that uh, I am, aiming for and striving for every day in my life, the work that I'm trying to do with this podcast. And I think it also encompasses some of the largest influences of my journey, right? Solitude, myself, being aligned with a purposeful lifestyle and what that means. And also, intentionally showing up authentically as myself. All very different journeys and of their own, but I think really at the center of who I am today and probably what you'll hear a lot about on this podcast. So yeah, that's the name of the game. Myself. I'm a pretty private person. This is not something that is very like me to share out with, with strangers in this way and be vulnerable. But I don't think it's not for nothing, right? Like, I think this work for me is about believing in the power of community and believing in the power of testimony, which I really do. And so I'm taking a chance, right? It's a leap of faith that sharing and maybe opening up some of you to go off and think about these things more, have these conversations, or even engage with me does serve a purpose, right? So, yeah, I don't have many other goals for this podcast other than if anyone tuning in feels seen or heard or understood, even for a few minutes in their day, I believe it was worth it. Like, that's a win in my book. Outside of that, I don't really have goals for this podcast. Like, that's the work that I'm trying to do, you know? That said, I'm I'm not for everyone. I fully accept and expect that I am not for everyone. This podcast will not be for everyone. The things that I am saying or doing or the things that I believe, they may not be for you, and that's totally okay. What I would encourage is that we all practice holding on to what resonates and leaving what doesn't. Hold on to what resonates and leave whatever doesn't. Okay. I think that's a great way for us to keep it respectful and, keep it cute. Yeah, so that's kind of what's behind the podcast and my thoughts here. And if you want to know more about what to expect or what the podcast is about, I don't think there's any better way than to keep tuning in. Yeah. So if you want to know more, keep tuning in. Watch whatever comes after this. Thanks for joining me today. I do hope that you'll join me again soon. And until then, whatever you do, do it on purpose.